When VW announced the Up in 2011, I thought to myself, what a cute little car this is. In 2013, VW came up with the E-Up, which is essentially the all-electric variant. Now, the first generation model offered around 80 to 90 miles of all-electric range, which a lot of people thought is a little bit limited. Now in 2020, and with the 2019 variant that we've got over here, the range has pretty much doubled to around 160 miles. Now, this model can be found for around £20,000 and has got limited options, which actually makes it great for prospective buyers. Now, if you'd like to read more information about the E-Up, do check it out on our website in the link in the description below, and furthermore down there you'll find a link to our Instagram. It's at TotallyEVnet. It'll be on your screen right now. If you want to follow it, be sure to do so. So let's see if this car is worth the money and if VW have addressed some of the issues that were present in its first generation model. So let's first start off and talk about the exterior design of the vehicle. Now, at the front I think it looks pretty cute, but yet has this kind of classy design which sets it aside from some of its competitors. At the side it's got a sporty look given its 15-inch alloys come as standard, and at the rear it's got a contrasting boot lid which gives it a little bit of a different take. Now, it's worth bearing in mind that the white colour over here doesn't come as standard. It's around a £390 option, but you can go for the blue colour, which also looks really nice, and that comes for free. Now, the only thing I don't like about the exterior design of the vehicle is the contrasting colours between the main headlights and the C-shaped daytime running headlights which are positioned just under it. I would have liked if VW had matched the colours, or furthermore just made it as an option. Now, this is my subjective opinion, so I'd be very much intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. As we step inside the cabin, the VW E-Up's interior design doesn't quite reflect its exterior luxurious design. Instead, here you can see cost savings have been made from a plastic dashboard to plastic panels on the doors, and even a lack of colour that's been applied to the door frame. Now, some people might like that because they'll be reminded of the colours that they've chosen for the exterior design of the car, but subjectively I would say that I would have liked a little bit more of a design or something to be added that makes it feel a little bit more luxurious. On the plus side, the car is actually very practical and easy to get used to. It's very much no frills, but that's exactly what you kind of want from a car. There's no fancy touchscreen display, and instead it resorts to physical buttons and a colourful display instead. And even VW have integrated a 3-prong smartphone holder which allows you to pop your smartphone here, and given its USB, its port is just at the back, you can also charge your smartphone at the same time. Now, there's no Apple CarPlay or Android Auto included. If you do want to connect up your smartphone to the car, you can do so via Bluetooth. It's very intuitive and easy to do, and I had no issues doing that. Now, it's worth bearing in mind over here that the car has a 6-speaker configuration. 4 speakers at the front, 2 speakers at the back. Now, I've got a dedicated audio review of the E-Up, so if you're interested in watching that or indeed reading the review, do check it down in the description below. But in a nutshell, the actual sound system that's comprised over here, which comes as standard and can't be configured or even upgraded, is actually pretty impressive for a car of its size. As we move from sound, let's talk about the climate controls, which are, well, as you guessed it, pretty simple and easy to use. They're physical buttons with a little LED indicator which gives you an indication of the temperature and even the fan speed. It's all very simple, but that's exactly what you'd want from a car of its class. Moving on from there, we've got the steering wheel, which on the left hand side has got media controls and the right hand side has got instrument cluster controls. Now, in terms of the instrument cluster, it's non-digital. It's actually physical dials which move around. The smallest dial on the left hand side shows you your power in terms of efficiency. The middle large one is your speedometer, and on the right hand side gives you a kind of fuel gauge, in other words how much battery you've got remaining. There's a small little display in the middle as well which gives you some key information, or you can represent, let's say, your speedometer digitally through this display. I think what VW have done over here have kept things simple but yet very effective. Elsewhere in the cabin, the car retains a gear selector which is pretty much reminiscent of its gasoline variant. There's also a physical handbrake lever, which is pretty much a rarity nowadays on electric vehicles, and a cup holder space, or indeed if you want to fit a 1-litre bottle. The same could be said in front of the gear lever, where there is additional storage space here for loose change or, let's say, your wallet, although large size smartphones won't exactly fit there. You might want to still pop it up on that smartphone holder even if you're not using it. When it comes to storage space, the VW E-Up is somewhat limited. There is some compartmental storage at the front doors which will fit basically a 500 milliliter bottle, and as I mentioned before, at the center consoles, you have got about a few little places that you can pop your stuff, and including the glove compartment. At the rear, given the door's a little bit smaller, it will pretty much fit either a wallet or a smartphone, but that's about it. Now the plus side is the 250 liters of space that you get in the boot can be expanded if you have no rear passengers. That figure increases to around 950 liters, which is pretty impressive given the car of its size, therefore allowing you to take large luggage and therefore pick up someone from the airport. And finally, to round off the interior design of the car, it's worth bearing in mind the actual seat comfort. Now at the front, these seats are actually adjustable. They're both manually adjustable and have no issues whatsoever, although there's no manually adjustable headrest like you find at the back. At the back, however, it's a little bit more crammed in. Given the size of the car, you can expect this is going to be the case. Now I'm just under 6 foot and I've got barely any space at the top of my head. So if you're 6'2" or something like that, I think you'll struggle to fit at the back of the car. Now, it's quite intriguing to see that this car only seats 4 individuals. A middle person cannot sit here. Now yes, you might be a little bit crammed, but who hasn't been crammed going around uni days, for example, with someone driving around and everyone being kind of crammed at the back? There's no seat belt at the back for the middle passenger, so therefore it's very much limited to 4 occupants only. Now another thing worth bearing in mind is at the back you do not have electrically adjustable windows. This is slightly a shame because it would have been nice to see the same reflected from the front of the cabin to the rear, but on the plus side you can open it up for a little bit of ventilation. And now we get onto performance, and here is where I think the VW e-up really excels, specifically for a car of its size. Now the car is very nimble and very easy to operate. So for example here, if I want to take a turn, it's just so nice to drive and very responsive as well, specifically because it's got an all-electric drive and gives you an instant amount of acceleration. When it comes to acceleration, it gets from 0 to 60 in around 11 odd seconds. Top speed is limited to 81 miles an hour, and that's because of its relatively small motor, which dispatches around, well, conveniently 81 horsepower. When it comes to maneuverability, that's not the only thing with the VW e-up, because it also comes with parking sensors. So if I just pull up over here and shift it to reverse, the small little display over here pops up the rear camera sensors, making it even easier to maneuver and park and therefore not curb your wheels. The thing I really love about it is that this comes as standard. You get rear parking sensors and also a rear camera. There's also, in terms of giving you a bit of more peace of mind, when you're on the motorway, you've got lane keep assist, which basically tries to keep you within the distances of the lines and gives you a little bit more of an ease of driving when it comes to your steering wheel. Of course, if you don't like this feature, you can fully disable it via a little handy button placed just to the left-hand side of the steering wheel, at least in the UK with a right-hand drive, and means that you don't have to use lane keep assist if you don't want it. The same could be said about the car's visibility. Its small size means that its large rear boot and in terms of its windows over here make it really easy for you to look around and see if it's safe to drive, or indeed see cars on your side, be it from your blind spot. It is worth bearing in mind there is no blind spot assist, but again, given a car of its size, it's somewhat to be expected. There are little indicators on the mirrors, so it makes it a little bit easier for those people who are driving beside you to know that you are indicating and taking a left or right turn. The only thing worth bearing in mind is cabin noise, and cabin noise does come across through the wheels. Now, given the 15-inch alloys are relatively slim and, well, kind of sportish looking, you do get a bit of road noise coming through the tires. It also can be heard through the A-pillars, but on the whole, is it acceptable? Absolutely. Is it fine? Yes. I am nitpicking, but it's just something I thought to kind of point out because some people might be accustomed to either complete silence or a car that's a lot more premium, and therefore this car won't compete with that type of car. Now, this is really an inner city car, and you can see right now, despite the lovely weather that we've got in the UK, that the car is really made for driving around small little roads that I'm doing right now. Now, you can take it on the motorway, of course, there's no issues with that, but when it comes to actually driving in the city, you'll be pleased to know that the car's range has greatly increased from the first generation, up from around 80 to 90 miles to around 156 miles. From my tests, I found that the car lasts around 140 to 130 miles in mixed driving conditions. Now, not only that, the car is actually really easy and convenient to charge. It's got a Type 2 and CSS port located on the side of the vehicle, meaning that a 80% charge will take around 1 hour. And if you are on a slower charger, let's say a 7.2 kilowatt public charger, then it'll take around 4 hours from 0 to empty. Now, the only thing I'm not a fan of, however, is its regenerative braking. I'm not talking about its operational, because in Regen level 4 or its 3 other levels that you can choose from, I have no issues when it comes to a one pedal approach. It's actually pretty nice to recoup as much energy as you can back into the battery pack. What I don't like is in terms of accessing it. To access it, what you will need to do is each time you switch on the car, go on the gear lever and either shift to the left or right to access the 3 different level modes, so level 1, 2 or 3, and if you want level 4, you'll have to shift down on the gear lever. I find this a little bit tedious, and something that I've noted in other VW vehicles, that it doesn't save the last mode that you've actually came into to drive the car, and instead means that you have to set it each time you step inside the car. So what do I make of the VW e-up? Quite frankly, I think this car is really good, because not only is it fun to drive, it looks really stylish and cute, it's also pretty practical in terms of its interior design, and while it might not be premium looking, it's pretty functional. As such, this car gets TotallyEV's Best Buy award. I can't think of a better car that combines all of these things into one comprehensive package that can be found for around £20,000. Of course, you might agree or disagree with me, so let me know in the comments below what you make of the new VW e-up. I've been Chris from TotallyEV. Make sure you subscribe, like and favourite and share, as it'll always help the channel grow. Take care and bye bye.